Hey gang, so once again, technology bites. I've been broadcasting for the last 25-30 minutes. Thought I was broadcasting and looked down and discovered that my camera was just pointing, wasn't broadcasting. So sorry. Yeah, if any of you want to volunteer to be my techie assistant, I am totally open. They changed my system 2 weeks ago and I've not recovered yet at all. Anyway, so I am well into the final edit. Light, opaque highlights, capturing realism with interesting marks. Basically, the only part of the painting that is finished, so to speak, in the final edit is this area right here. I started with this white building and it moved right from there. My battery died halfway through my first episode this morning. And so what you're watching now is me running on fumes. My batteries, that is, not me, thank goodness. Running on fumes. I don't know how long the batteries will last. So I'll just broadcast as long as I can. And if I disappear suddenly, it's because my batteries, my final backup batteries, gave up the ghost. Okay? Good to have you on board, though, as long as that lasts. I'm not doing any of the sky yet. I'll certainly go ahead and do some of that later. Okay, let's move. Let's move west, shall we? Let's move on over to this building. Get just the right color. Buff tan. Buff is not an artist word. Sounds like the color is a shoe or something. Shoe color. Buff. Well, I guess it's just buff shoes. That must be where I'm getting that from. Slightly as we come down the building. We certainly don't want to do the whole building the same color. Why? Variety. Whenever you're painting a flat plane, you do not want to paint it like a flat plane. You want to paint it going from dark to light. Most obviously and especially in landscape painting is when you're painting the side of a building. And many times, in reality, let's say the sun is shining and the sun is hitting the entire building. That's pretty standard, right? Pretty ordinary. And if you don't have your wits about you, you'll stand there like a dummy, I might say, talking to myself here, talking about myself. Stand there like a dummy and paint it the way you see it, which is sun hitting equally the entire building. That's a mistake. The rule is, and every rule can be broken, don't spout exceptions to the rule back at me. Every rule can be broken. You got to know when to break it. If you don't know the rule, it's probably just because you're screwing up. Okay? So, generally speaking, see, this building goes from slightly dark to slightly lighter. That gives us a happy feeling. That gives us a happy sensation. You could say, how come? Well, a lot of ways to put it. Our eyes enjoy, when I say our eyes, of course I really mean our brains, but you know, the visual part of our eyes, visual part of our brains, enjoy variety. Our brains also enjoy subtlety. So the subtle shift, our eyes get a kick out of that. Our eyes go, woohoo, I like it. And you need to learn that. After you learn it, then you can do exceptions to the rule if you want. Let's use a maul stick here, right? Finish this building before I move on. Let's get a surprisingly small couple of brushes. Surprising for me. Let's mix up some pale green. And paint some of these windows. Not all of them, just some of them. Yeah. Why? Well, first of all the Raleigh natives know what color these windows are. Well, that's not really true. All the Raleigh natives that are observant of such things, which is mostly only the artists. This building is very distinctive for its green tinted windows. Very distinctive. Now, ironically, every window has blinds, shades behind it. So the only windows that appear green are the ones where the inhabitants of the building, of the room behind the building, have pulled the shades. Otherwise, the buildings appear quite neutral dark, just dark squares. But since the sun is shining, anyway, you got it. I got most of the people here pulled the shades. Good enough. Let's continue this way. I guess we'll tackle the big blue building next. And I've got a bunch of brown paint. Wait a minute. tell you what, before I leave this, let's go back and hit some of this building over here that I only hit it with one color, so you know it's not done yet. It's not done until it has two shades of its given color, whatever color it is, brown in this case. It must have light brown, top of dark brown. Likewise, this building here, at the moment, it's all one color, monochromatic, perhaps you could say. Doesn't feel done until I come in and hit it with a lighter color. Then it feels done. But now that I've got orange on my brushes, yeah. Change my mind. Let's come just to save time. Not be mixing, changing, cleaning brushes too much. Let's come way over here. Get the first of the pale beige, tan colored buildings. Now, pretty much all that I'm doing right now is pretty hard edge. You can see that, right? So I'm really glad that at least I took some time and did a fuzz layer that gave me a lot of soft layers. Do I want all of these buildings to be equally sharp? And the answer is no, I'm sure I don't. I'm sure I don't. I want this one sharp. These two are sharp. This building I'm not entirely happy with at the moment. Now I can fix it though. Whoops, didn't want to do that. My thumb picked up the wrong color paint. The ground was still very wet. So basically what I'm doing here, I'm just coming in and abstracting, messing up this area a little bit. Not happy with the way it ended up. That's a little better. Too busy, just too busy. There we go. Okay, back over here. And while I'm at it, let's building next to it is essentially the same color. Not that that means I have it the same color, right? Let's do some scratching. Go ahead and get the shady side of this building. I need to stop and shift my easel because I'm getting too much sun here. So hang on just for a minute. Me for a while. Yeah. By the way, I didn't explain just one little tip about my setup here, my equipment. I carry in my van some sheets of black plastic and a staple gun. Sorry to swig right in front of you. There, I'm done. Because sometimes sun hits the back of the canvas and you can't paint. You cannot paint with sun coming through the back of your canvas. So I carry this black plastic and a staple gun. And when I got here this morning, as soon as I started setting up, as soon as I brought my canvas up here, I went, whoa. Nope, not gonna work. So I went back to the car and the van and took just a couple minutes, well worth the time. Took a couple minutes to slap black plastic on the back of my canvas. I thought I was going to the blue building, but turns out no. Remember, you want to paint in such a way that the viewer's brain finishes the picture. The person who looks at your painting, their mind completes the picture for you. So it's a real delicate balance between realism and abstraction. Too abstract and they don't see enough to finish the painting, and that's frustrating. Too much explanation on your part, and their brain doesn't have anything to do. Forgive me, I keep bumping you guys. I'm having fun. I have to remind myself that every once in a while. Okay, Mr. Nelson, what would you rather be doing for a living? Well, maybe being a musician, but other than that, what? No, can't think of anything. Art is my job. Music is my passion, truly. But it's a lot easier to make a living as an artist than it is a musician. Trust me. I come from a whole family of serious musicians. Whenever I say that, at least in my part of the world, I always want to qualify that. I don't know why. That's because for many in America, when you say you're a musician, and if you say particular, you play several instruments, and then I say, really? Like what? And they say, well, the guitar, the bass, the piano, and the drums. Okay, so, whoops, this is me being a snob. Brace yourself, brace yourself. Snob alert, snob alert. In my opinion, those are all the same instrument. They're all rhythm instruments, and they're all hand instruments. I know I'm being rather something, but they're all closely related. The guitar, the piano, especially if it's a classical guitar, and bass and drums. Anyway, and they can add mandolin and banjo and ukulele to all that, and that's all the same instrument. I am one to talk because I play guitar, and I could say I play the mandolin, but I really don't. But I could say I play the ukulele, and I do, but I don't count that as a separate instrument. Anyway, so my family was a family of serious musicians, which means like writing music and arranging music and performing and conducting symphony-like music. 3 of my siblings are in education, music education. One of them, my brother Ron, yay Ron, just got a position at a college up in California. My older sister Judy just applied to be a music recruiter, and boy would she do an incredible job at East Carolina University. Good music school here in North Carolina. Anyway, I got a brother in Japan who leads choirs, and he used to play in the local symphony orchestra over there. That was quite a while ago. French horn. French horn runs in my family. They're like 6 horn players. I'm very proud of them all. Anyway, what would I rather be doing? Answers, not much. It's a pretty great way to make a living. This painting will go through quite the transformation when I do the sky. The sky will be quite a bit brighter and bluer than it is right now. And that will really, I'm going to carve up the shapes of these buildings, of course, when I do the sky up there. So that'll be quite a dramatic transformation. Down here, mix up first of all a fairly neutral cool gray. Some of these buildings lifetime. Some more palette knife. This roof line right here is the roof of our convention center. Not a tall building, but very much one of the show-off pieces of architecture in downtown Raleigh. And it's a very, very distinctive, very important element in this painting. So I certainly want to make sure that I get that right, get it standing out pretty much. Warm white. Yeah. You know, a lot of painting, a lot of art is just patience, isn't it? Just taking the time to get the job done. That's even for someone like me who's painting in a very fast technique. I have many friends who paint in super realistic. Then that principle, that reality is just multiplied. And just put your butt in your chair if you're painting indoors in a studio or whatever it may be. And just keep going, man. Just paint. That's. I'm feeling, you know, last night I painted yesterday for 6 hours, 5 hours. And here I am again doing another same size painting. It gets a little monotonous. Not too monotonous. I mean, you know what I mean? I can't complain too much. I can, but you don't want to hear me. I have no good reason to complain too much. I think that's part of the reason for me why plein air painting is better than indoor painting. Because indoors, I'm too tempted to be distracted by all kinds of stupid stuff. Out here, it's like, nah, get the job done, man. Get the job done. Get home where you can sit down. So I keep my nose to the grindstone much better when I'm plein air painting. Yay! That's it pretty much. I'm going to use this color to bring this building down here a little bit more. All these buildings come down into a tree line. ready to go west again. So the further I get away from the focal point, the more abstract my painting can be, and really must be. Must be more abstract. It would be inappropriate to carry this degree of detail over here. It would be a conflict of vision. Our eyes wouldn't know, say, okay, are we supposed to look at this or what? And the answer is yes, you're supposed to just glance at it and then bounce like a rubber band or a magnet back to the focal area. So frankly, right now, I'm not even looking at this building. It's just something like this, close enough. Close enough. And then same thing with the, what is now the Wells Fargo building. It's been several banks in the 30 years we've been here. First Union, Wachovia, Wells Fargo. As one bank gobbles up another. And then gets gobbled in turn by another. That might be too much detail right there. I believe it is. That helps. There we go. Thank you, you faithful few who are watching me right now. I wish I could see your comments. It's just too bright out here. I don't know, maybe I should switch to an iPad where I can see things bigger. I'll look into that. Now, let's go on down. It's real. One of the single most important elements of this view is this overpass right here. Really does so much to enhance this view of the city. I'm glad they put it here just for aesthetic purposes. Let me pick up another brush again and do a quick shaft of redness. Not too red, brownish red, but again, very distinctive part of this scene is the red superstructure steel beam underneath this bridge. There we go. I like negative painting stuff. In fact, any chance you get to negative paint something instead of positive paint it. Do you know what I mean by that? Instead of rendering the car to look like a car by painting the car, render the car to look like a car by painting the road around it. It's one of the best ways to achieve that sweet spot of abstract versus realistic. One of the best ways to do it is by not painting the object. It's like the same principle is in effect whenever you paint sky holes in a tree, which are, as you know, are completely misnamed. They should not be called sky holes, because look at, what do you call these? Bum, 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 bum. Those are not sky holes. Bum, bum, bum. Those are building holes. Anyway, they should have been called tree holes, not sky holes, but alas, the day the committee met to discuss such things, they did not invite me. So we are left with an inappropriate designation, sky holes. If we call them tree holes, it would always be the right label. Holes in the tree, no matter what's behind. Anyway, there are worse things and worse in life. Now, getting down to this very delicate business of how far do I bring down this rendering of the road, right? How far down? First of all, I just changed to a considerably darker beige, buff, tan, neutral gray color, warm gray. I just switched to a considerably darker than it was. So I wanted to fade the light, right? And then how much to do? That is a very good question. Fortunately, I've already got most of the work done in the underpainting stage, so I don't need to do a ton of work down here. Again, I want it to look like sun-spangled, bedazzled road, right? Yeah. Okay, well, this requires a bigger brush for sure. I think that might be enough. Let's bring down just a tiny bit. Work here and there. Good enough for now. Now, while I'm at it, let's do some. While I'm in the foreground down here, let's mix up some green for the grassy stuff. Grassy green. We'll worry about the tree-y green later. I'm turning around to look at it. So what color is it? What color is this stuff actually? A little bit greener. Greener than you would think. If you're like me and you're afraid of green, and everybody ought to be afraid of green. A few years ago, I was designing a cover for Jerry's Artorama, and it was a self-portrait of myself as a medieval artist mixing up his paints, and they were announcing on the cover with my artwork. They were announcing a competition for inventing a color. And they asked me what color I would invent, and I had a pretty instant answer to that question. I said if I were inventing a color, it would be plein air green. It would be to help all of us, all of you, all of y'all in your plein air painting. It would be a very, very, very dull green. It would be green with a lot of brownish red, reddish brown in it. Because that would be a better place for most of you, if I may use the word you for a moment, myself included though, it would be a better place for most of us to start our green than with the greens that come in the tubes. Because the paint makers love the color green because our eyes can see more shades of green than anything else. And so we can, the paint makers can just make every shade of dazzling, sparkling, blistering green you can think of, because our eyes are so sensitive to green. And all of them are way too intense. I mean, the only kind of painting you would ever use them on would be some kind of psychedelic, abstract, crazy, you know, thing. That's the only time you'd ever use one of those greens. So I would think they should make, there probably is something, but a very, very olive-ish, very olive green, very dark green, dark, warm green. And then you could add some other greens to it, or other yellow and blue to it, to intensify it. That would be easier, in my opinion, than taking what actually comes in the tubes and dulling it down. It'd be easier to go the other way around. Start with something very dull and brighten it up to taste. And especially students would end up having a lot easier time with it. If the green, and there probably is, I'm sure there is some green already this color. There's a chromium, transparent gold green something. I forget now what it's called. Seems like it's transparent and gold green. Earth. Yeah, you can look it up. There's an earth green. So maybe that's why they didn't take my suggestion. They probably showed it to a paint maker and they said, well, look at this. Here's what we've already got it. And they said, oh. I should probably buy a tube of that stuff while I'm on the subject. Okay, now I just did a whole bunch of the same color green all across there, right? So you know something very well, don't you? That is what? Especially when you do especially when you use one color over a broad area, you know, in many places, especially when you do that. That means in particular that you need to come back and hit that that green with a lighter green. So I'm going to do that in just a minute. Just wipe off some of the excess off these brushes. Thanks for your company today. I appreciate it. And again, sorry I'm not responding to your comments, because your chat comments, because I can't see them. So sorry. I look forward to reading any comments you've left. Okay, so here I have a slightly lighter version of the green that I just put down. Slight is an important word. So now I come back and hit little bits. Of course, the sun is coming from the right, so that helps me know which side to put this highlight on, right? Thinking of the trees sort of as scoops of ice cream all piled up on top of each other, but they tend to be roundish on the top, right? Tend to be when they're all in a forest configuration like this. So just hitting all of those greens with a little bit slightly lighter version of the same color, just slightly lighter, all of a sudden it talks to us. so to speak. Because our eyes enjoy subtlety. Our eyes get a kick out of subtlety. Now I've got the same problem going right here, right? I need some yellow back out here on my palette. So all of this was the same color. Not a pleasant sensation, right? Not a nice feeling. Need some broken. Phil Starks, who I never took lessons from, but my good friend David Foster took a bunch of lessons from Phil Starks, and this is one of the, he calls it broken color. There is broken values and broken color. What he means is you've got basically a plane of a particular color, but inside it are little small, not so as to violate the overall sense of the plane, but inside it are little details, breaks of color. So, and I'm doing actually right now. What I'm doing is actually more of value breaks. It would be color breaks now if I came in here and did some purple, red, yellow, maroon. Those would be color breaks in this field of grass. I probably could use more of that in my painting than I do right now. Same thing over here. Just hitting with a slightly lighter. Now it comes to life, and then we like it. I'm getting pretty close to it. I want to do some fuchsia from last year, so I guess I'll put it in fuchsia. I'm going to do some magenta. I don't have magenta paint, but I have pink, what's it called? Rose. Permanent rose. There we go. Woo! Language side of my brain takes a vacation much of the time while I'm painting. Okay, so permanent rose and white, a little bit of naphthol, and I want to come in here. I've already got little bits of it, this color, so I don't need to do too much. Just a little bit here and there, and also the crepe myrtles have a very distinctive shape to them. The top, they go out like this at the tops. They go up branches. So I want to be sure to reflect that a little bit. Not spelling it out too much, but spelling out just enough that everybody in the southeast who knows crepe myrtles will go, oh yeah, crepe myrtles. That's what they look like. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, I think I'm essentially done with this. There's one wall here of this building that I'm finding not terribly pleasant. So let me try to fix that real quick. It's too dark and too chroma. I'm mixing up a duller version of that. Yeah, much better. Same thing over here. Too chroma. Too much hue. Too intense color. Yeah. Oh, here's a cute little detail that I want to nail down. I'm going to do a couple things. One is there's a traffic sign right here, and it's that very distinctive highway sign color. And I have here some Viridian green, which is just perfect because that's the color highway signs, and I think it'd be kind of fun. It's half obscured. In fact, it's got a great big vine growing right over the top of it. Poor people from out of town, they can't even read that sign. Anyway, I think it's kind of fun to have that little detail. Speaking of which, hang on. While I've got green on my brushes, this tree over here, whereas I like it dark and gloomy, it's a little too dark and gloomy, so I need to add some green to that tree. Not too bright. Not too bright. I'm actually picking up violet, phthalo, yellow ochre to create this color. And just little bits of it here and there. Yeah, I can use some of that over here as well. Let's go ahead and knock out the edge of this painting. So it's called Gallery Wrap, right? The painting goes around the corner, around the edge, and it's a thick canvas. Saves me a ton of trouble worrying about frames. Oh, I hate frames. Maybe once in a while I'll paint on something skinny just for fun, but then I'm faced with that awful framing issue. And I'm usually sorry that I painted on it. Okay, now, you know, I just did a whole bunch of green, right? So here we go again, right? So I have to mix up slightly lighter color and come back and do some on top of what I just did. A little bit here and there. It almost doesn't matter where I do it, especially when it's organic, like bushes and trees. But it's important that there be a second, slightly lighter color on top of that. Otherwise, it would be really boring. And that is all these lampposts. I already sketched them in very loosely with pencils and with acrylics, but now it's time to come and really make them pop. Definitely do several of these with palette knife, but I want variety, so I'm going to do some first with a brush and then come back and do more with a palette knife. Very distinctive part of this scene. Very, very, very important part of this, what we're looking at when we look downtown from here. Isn't that fun? What a difference just a couple minutes of a real distinctive detail makes in the look of the painting. Very distinctive. Okay, now to the sky. Now, to the big boy, big issue of the sky. And my underpainting of the sky was orange, pink, salmon, fuchsia. Fuchsia. But in the fuzz layer, of course, I did quite a bit of blue, so it's not nearly as pink as it used to be, orange as it used to be, but you can still see lots of orange peeking through. You know what? Time out. I need to clean off my palette. Once again, I've completely run out of room. Usually take advantage of these moments to clean up my little piles of color too, you know, and because I never, as you probably have seen, virtually never use a palette knife to mix colors. I mix with brushes. And because I use 2 brushes at a time, I'm usually mixing the colors with 2 brushes, which is quite a bit quicker than 1 brush. That might be the main time-saving result of using painting with 2 hands, is you can mix the paints more quickly when you're mixing with 2 hands. All right, how you doing? Man, it's 2:30. I can't believe it. Let's see if I can get away with just this much white. I don't have much titanium white left. So very simple, titanium white and phthalo blue. Let me look at that again. Wow. Yep, and a little bit of ultramarine. For what it's worth, as you probably know, you can Google Dan Nelson palette, not limited palette. I also have a video called Limited Palette, but if you do Google Dan Nelson Not Limited Palette, I'll give you a tour. I know it's probably safe, but whatever. I don't need it because if you have a good phthalo and a good ultramarine, and I don't mean by that you have to get all worried and analytical and doubtful and wonder if what you have is good. No, it's good enough. Unless it's a real student grade, and maybe not, but if you like it, use it. Talked about that earlier today. If you mix phthalo and ultramarine, good phthalo, good ultramarine, you get what is essentially a cobalt blue. I've done it several times and have artists in the room who cannot tell the difference between a cobalt and a fake cobalt. So that's good enough for me. Okay, so as you can see, as I've been saying, the painting's going to change quite a bit when I get this sky in here. There's a pencil line right there that's just a little too much. So here you go. There. Gone. Perfect. I forgot to paint the top of this building white, very distinctive white pyramid shape. I have to get that. So what's the point of a complementary underpainting, which in this case was orange pink, complementary to the blue? Why? Well, because now that I'm doing the blue on top, I allow little bits of the orange to peek through. How much? I have no idea. I'm painting with my eyeballs, not with a recipe. But I allow little bits of the orange to peek through. And the orange and the blue create a vibration, is what people call it. It vibrates our eyes. And it's a pleasant vibration. Another word for it is it's a momentary, minuscule confusion. Our brain goes, for just a second, it goes, and believe it or not, that momentary, almost split second, but that momentary confusion we experience as aesthetic pleasure. Now, if you happen to be deeply poisoned in your adult mind, and you're into judgment and analysis, if you're very, very, very left-brained, analytical, sometimes that momentary confusion you can experience as discomfort. But in my opinion, that's not because it is discomfort, it's because you're heavily damaged in your psyche. And you need to go get that healed. Woohoo! Boy, he's smoking today. Or is it, what are you smoking today? There's some truth there, though. There's some truth. The act of painting with your eyes, as opposed to painting from recipe or formula. See, a grumpy adult can paint from the adult brain. By the way, the essence of the adult brain is grumpiness. The essence of the adult brain is judgment of everything. Let me give you an example. Somebody could look at let's say the color sky here, and a grumpy adult brain might say something like, "So what color would you call that?" See, that's a child would never. A child receives the color purely, in an unadulterated, innocent manner. But a grumpy adult wants answers, wants judgment. Judge. So, what color would you call that? Do you hear the difference? And that is not a good place to paint from. Now it's conceivable, I suppose. I mean, one of the painters I like a lot, I talk about it, Mark Carter, paints from a very adult brain, very, very analytical, and I like him, and I like his stuff. I don't want to be him. I don't want to paint like him, but I do like his stuff. Maybe M.C. Escher. His drawings, perhaps you could say, come from a very adult center. Very, very, very strict. And it's okay to paint that way some of the time. But anyway, most of the time, though, most of you know, you do not want to paint out of that grumpy adult, analytical, judgment-focused mind. You want to paint from pure aesthetic experience. Unadulterated, visceral experience. That is a better way to paint. I'm coming in here already and doing lighter color closer to the horizon for two reasons. One is because of the principle I talk about all the time. Come back with a slightly, but also because it was too dark. It was just too dark. And it probably still is. Okay, but let me go ahead and, whoa, big wind. Let me go ahead and get some of this. My discussion about the adult brain for what it's worth. Not that you want to hear it, but it's actually a part of a much larger, it's a sub-theme of a much larger theme. I'll put it like this, and this relates to being an artist. A little introductory. Part of the reason I'm maybe a half-decent artist, part of the reason is because I've managed somehow, miraculously, either to retain or resuscitate the child within. One or the other. I don't know if I resuscitated it or I managed to hang on to it. Here's one way to look at life, and I'm going to get a little bit spooky on you here, but just consider this. Here's one way to look at life. From the moment we come out of our mother's womb, and frankly, for some of us, before we even come out of our mother's womb, the world, I'll put this label on it. The world is doing its best, its dead level best, to pound us into oblivion. Hard times, hard experiences, pain, anguish, pain, all kinds of internal and physical pain. The pain of the existential human condition, right? And children are beautiful and lovely and innocent. Many of those children, well, they're all beat up. All of us get beat up. That's just part of life. You are going to get beat up. And I'm calling it the world here. It's just the environment, the atmosphere we live in is trying to beat us into grumpy, careful adulthood. Self-protective adulthood. And that's not a good place to paint from. But the word picture I want you to grasp, in my opinion, is that all of us, from our mother's womb, from the moment we come out, and for some of us even before we come out, we are faced with trauma of every kind of trauma. And the adult brain is a result of defending ourselves from the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, shall we say. And that's the way it is. Many of us in our teens, 20s, and 30s heaped a whole bunch of blame on our parents, some of which was very much deserved by them. But in my opinion, by the time you're 40-something, you have raised yourself longer than your parents have raised you. And if you're still blaming your parents for a whole bunch of crap by the time you're in your 40s, you have no one to blame but yourself. You are responsible for your mental health after the age of blank. Now, most of us have to go through some period of recovery. Maybe that some of what happened to us was not fair and was not right and was wrong and was painful. That's called becoming an adult. Now, I'm fortunate enough that I thought my parents were great. In fact, I had the opposite problem. If my parents were so good, I loved my parents. I thought they were awesome. But if they were so awesome, how come I had so many issues? Are you with me? But don't look at me like that. You have issues too. You with me? So I had to go through a long period of like, oh, wait a minute. I guess there were some things I need to recover. And it's my job to do my own recovery. It's my job. It's not my job to blame my parents when I'm 45 years old. And a lot of people do that. Oh, I'm a victim. Now, I want to be compassionate because there's some people got some really rough crap when they were kids, and that's pretty serious. But there is help to be found in the world if you want to find it. Okay, enough of the pastoral counseling. But the point being that beat up, I am a victim, grumpy adult mindset is not a good place to paint from. It's not. And I see it all the time in my emerging painting friends. Oh, I don't know, I'm just not very good. I don't know, I'm just not very good. I'm just not very good. Have I said that enough times? Oh, sorry, just kicked you again. Right when I think I'm done, right when I think my kicking days are over, I kick you again. Sorry about that. Anyway, there you go. So I think I've got the blue lighter on top of the darker. Naples yellow, out of Naples yellow, for getting your sky the correct color down close to more titanium white. Nope, too much Naples yellow. I'm painting with my eyes. I turned around and looked at there we go. That looks, yeah, there we go. By the way, here's a tip. We like graduations better than flats, right? So the sky is one great big huge flat plane. It's an arc. It's a rounded plane, right? So of course we fade this way. But hang on. All your fading issues are not complete. We also fade one way or the other. And I'm going to fade, I'm going to fade this way. Changed my mind, actually, right in that second. Which means I'm going to have more light in this corner of the sky than in that one. Because we like graduations. We like it graduates in more than one direction. It goes from dark to light, or light to dark, and it goes from dark to light. So again, our eyes like subtlety. Our eyes get a kick out of subtlety. Our eyes are not all that crazy about predictability and boring stuff. We like variety. One nice thing about scratching like that is if you overdo it, you can come back immediately and just dial it down a little bit. There. You see? Now there's still little bits of that orange peeking through here and there and here and there and here and there. How much? I don't know. I'm painting with my eyes. I'm just trying to make it the right amount. Not too much, not too little. Yay, nearly finished. So I will take this home. I'll let it dry the rest of today. Tomorrow it'll be dry. Again, that's because I've got liquid in much of my paints, and my white is alkyd white. Okay, so it'll all be dry tomorrow. Every once in a while I get somebody asking, well, wait, how can you be doing these glazes and if you just painted it yesterday? There you go. It's because of the liquid and the alkyd. Alkyd white and the liquid in the transparent stages. And I will look at it in my studio if I can on the broadcast. My guess is I'll almost certainly do a glaze or glazes over the entire thing. This needs to be lighter, whiter down here. You know, little things. Yeah, there's highlights everywhere. My guess is I'll spend probably 45 minutes on this painting tomorrow. I'm going to break a rule here for just a minute. The rule is darks first, lights last. That's the rule, which is a violation, right? Because I put down light, I'm going to put down dark on top of it. But there's a way to fix it. So if you want to hang on, I'll show you. So I'm mixing up a little ultramarine, a little phthalo, to go back to a darker green up here, a darker blue, I mean, up here in this corner. I was feeling like my graduation was a little too subtle. Well, a little more dark. Now, obviously, I've elected at this point to paint almost a perfectly blue, clear blue sky. Last night I had a very busy sky. Today, even though in reality the sky behind me is quite busy, in a mood, for some reason, in a mood to do dark, plain blue sky. Just realized I didn't finish my little green sign here. There we go. It's too neat. Let's fix that. I tell you, I am loving my my raw umber trick. My raw umber trick. Student grade raw umber, perfect for killing colors. Just batting them down just the right amount. If anybody's, yep, a few people still watching, okay. I still got work to do and I still got energy, so I might as well keep going. I have to paint the top of the PNC building. Okay, as I look at the painting now that I've just as you can see, just kept my nose to the grindstone and blitzed hard through the painting process. What it lacks is sparkle. All through this area, I'll do a little bit, but I'm not going to do the whole thing with you guys watching this. It's just too much detail. I need more light highlights here, there, and everywhere. So let me just do a couple. I'm going to start with the overpass, the bridge, way here in the foreground. Adding sparkle is easy peasy because we like to see light paint on top of dark paint, and that's exactly what I'm talking about here. Is light on top. I'm doing light on top of dark, so it's very easy. It's not like a complicated process. You just come in here and do it. Likewise, the road here can go lighter. And let's do just a little bit more. This building right here. More sparkle, that's a good word for it. And it's very easy to do, very easy. Now let's go to some of the gray parts of that building. Can you see all this gray stuff here? It's all the same. And mix up a lighter gray. It doesn't even need to be particularly neat, as you can see. In fact, the messiness of it just adds to the abstraction. to go from here? Let's do some light on this face. Even though it's on the shady side of this building, right? But there's all kinds of secondary reflections going on in the world all over the place. Yep, that looks a little. I really want to jump up to this. These red brick buildings. They really need some lights on them. So I'm picking up Indian yellow, orange, and a little bit of Scarlet Lake. There we go. A little bit more Scarlet Lake. It's almost too close. I'll leave it for now, but I'm going to come back and hit it a third time with an even brighter color than that. Just a little spot. Some of you, I hope somebody's watching this that needs this. This right at the moment, I do this as I go along. You know, I do this little bit lighter trick, but here I am doing nothing but that, and I've run out of titanium white already. Doing nothing but this kisses of light. Here we go. There we go. And as you, it almost doesn't matter where you put these kisses of light. It's not like they have to make logical sense, because the real world, the light in the real world is bouncing all over the place. And most of our paintings don't have nearly as much light energy as they ought to. So I'm coming in right now and very specifically doing the light energy. Now let's do these tan buildings right here. Can you see how it's already coming alive though? I started here and moved up, and this is already looking better. Let's just continue. So too flat. I'm not berating myself, don't get me wrong. I'm not kicking myself, as I like to say. Witness my distress. Okay? I'm not unhappy at all. This is just part of the business of painting. I'm happy that I saw it and I saw what was needed. So I'm allowing little bits of the earlier darker color, of course, plaster some new color on top of, you know, so you can't see through it. No. It is, in fact, the layers. It is the layers of color that gives it its charm. Our eyes enjoy seeing stuff. Our eyes enjoy seeing little.
But don't forget who's taking you home, and who's all you're gonna be.
And if you found you've done too much, then just come back with a brush or a finger and level it back out. I know you are. Let's go over to the next building now. Entirely too flat. Entirely too flat. Even the shady side of this building, these buildings, both of them, the shade side is too flat too. So let's come in here and add some sparkle. There we go. Now, all of a sudden I'm feeling like there's a little bit too much lininess up here, so I'm gonna diminish some of the outline, the feeling of outline. Here we go. Too neat there. Too neat there. There we go. Okay, now switch colors completely. Well, wait a minute. No. I should be able to hit this. Woo! Are you getting it? It'll make me feel happier if I feel like somebody's benefiting from from all of this shenanigans. So let's move on up to this building right here. I got a lighter color. Nope, too close. Too close. Easy fix. Add some light to that. Try it again. Even lighter. Wow. Better. I think I can use some of this light sparkle all the way up here though. Whoops, and then I just discovered I missed a piece. The tops of these two buildings are definitely green. There we go. There we go. Now, the blue building. Wait, do I want green anywhere else? Nope. Okay, the blue building. Looking much better, eh, than it did just a few minutes ago. And I think I could still do more of the same, like my fuchsia highlights here, that really use some sparkling up. Too much of a line right there. There we go. Too much of a line right there. Easy fix. Now let's come back with some, not just sparkle in this case, but actual architectural detail, which is the balconies. on this side of this building come off as little light colored dashes, little bits of white, horizontal white things. Yeah. All the way back to the very first building I painted, right here. It was so bright when I first did it, but now can actually stand a little brightening. And on over here. Got a lovely color of a slate blue gray, gun barrel gray on my brushes right now, and I'm finding it's a very convenient color for lots of places, including in the tree over there. Even down here. All right, much better, much better. I believe I'm at a point now where I can come and look at this tomorrow through fresh eyes, and I'm quite if I haven't said this before, you pay attention. Pretty much any time that I have the opportunity to do day 2 on a painting. I just realized I never finished my crane very well. There we go. Anytime that I have the opportunity to do day 2 on a painting, I will do a glaze. Colored, very thin usually, transparent oil glazes. It's a glaze insofar as it covers one layer of the whole painting. It's glazes in that it's several colors. So I don't want to use the word glaze, even though that's technically correct, because some of you then may think that I'm limiting myself to just one color. No. One glaze with many colors. And then with a rag, lift out whatever ends up a little too dark, too dirty. Just lift it out a little bit. And almost virtually every painting is helped by a little glazing. I just realized I said I was going to do a lighter shade on these crepe myrtle pinks here. That's what I'm doing right here. Well, the last 30 minutes or so has been an absolute clinic in this principle that I talk about all the time, about how our eyes enjoy seeing a slightly lighter version, slightly lighter shade of what's already there on top of what's already there. That's a universal principle. You can take it to the bank. Of course, there's exceptions to every rule. Don't name the exception as sort of an excuse or like a, well, I think, no. You try it, you can't find it. There are exceptions, but that's the rule, okay? We don't enjoy seeing dark paint on top of light paint. We don't. But we do enjoy seeing light paint on top of dark paint. It's just that simple. Learn that rule and your paintings will improve instantly. All right, I'm gonna call it a day. My wife and I have a date tonight. Woo! And you know, I'll find out tomorrow when I look at this painting through fresh eyes. I'll find out how well I did. Do I really like it? It's you know, it's at least a B plus, maybe an A minus, and maybe I can turn it into an A plus. I'm not complaining, but I won't really know till tomorrow when I see it with fresh eyes, because I'm too close to it right now, literally, physically, and emotionally. I can't see very well. I can see this though. I can see that my green doesn't go light enough down here. Same thing, more sparkle, more highlights, There, that's better. Glad I did that before tomorrow. Woo! Okay, guys and gals, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for your comments and your chat. I look forward to reading them and responding to them such as I can later on. Hope that was fun. More tomorrow. Bye-bye.